Do you have the outline? I can look it up here too.
Yeah, why don't you pull it up on that too?
Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. Welcome. It is incredible to be able to see so many faces and so many screens of faces. Welcome to Niggun and Nourishment. I'm Rabbi Ilana Garber, the Director of Global Rabbinic Development for the Rabbinical Assembly. And it is our honor in the Rabbinical Assembly to be able to provide this program for us today and to be able to experience the beauty of Niggun, of melody, and of nourishment, of Torah with our colleagues here. And we're so glad also to be partnering with My Jewish Learning and the Hub. And so we will, of course, we're glad that we're all together. We want to share this moment of gratitude for all of you for taking time to nourish yourself and to be here in community. And just a couple of logistics. I'll be monitoring the chat. We are recording this. So if you don't want your video recorded, now is the time to turn that off. But of course, seeing your face, all of these faces definitely makes this a very special experience. And at the very end, I will post a link, or toward the end, or a couple times maybe, I'll post a link into the chat where we'd like to ask for your feedback and just to know that you were here and what you thought. So with that, I turn this to my rabbi, my teacher, Adam Kligfeld.
Yai dai, yai dai, yai yai yai, ai dai, ai yai dai, yai dai, yai dai, yai yai yai, ai yai 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 dai. That repeats. Yai dai, yai dai, yai yai yai, ai dai, ai hai dai, ai dai, yai dai, yai yai yai, ai yai 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 dai. Ya, 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 ya. Ay, da, ya, 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 da, 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 nai. Ya, da, ya, da, da, ya. Ya, 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 da, ya, ya, ya. Ya, 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 ya. Yai, 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 hi, ba, dai, da, dai, ai, dai, yai, da, dai, yai, yai, ba, ba, yai, ya, da, da, dai, from the beginning, yai, dai, yai, da, dai, yai, 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 dai, hi, yai, da, da, dai. Yai dai, yai da da, yai yai yai, ay yai yai, hi na 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 na. Even though I can't hear you, I can feel you. Hi yai, yai da da, yai yai yai, ay dai. Try to join in. Ay yai. Ay, ay, da da ya 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 ay ya 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 da na na ya 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 da ya ay ya 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 da na ay da da ya ay ay da da ya 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 Yay, 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 yay. Yay, 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 yay. Ay, na, 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 na. Ay, da, ay, da, da, yay. Ay, ya, da, yay. Yay, da, da, yay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I think we're spanning many time zones, so all the salutations are appropriate. Good day. It's a bit overwhelming to see all your faces and conjure the faces that I can't see because I can't fit that many screens, faces on one screen. But to share this moment with you, as I'm sure you've experienced many times over the last 8 months, it's a moment, it's an extended moment of a robbery of intimacy, an absence of closeness, an impoverishment of contact. And I certainly feel this with all of you as we're spread out over a country and perhaps a world. And yet an overwhelm of intimacy. I'm seeing close-up faces of people that I love and care about. I'm seeing close-up faces of people that I don't know yet, but now I know something about what you look like when you smile, what you look like when you sing, what your kitchen or family room or living room looks like. And so there's also sharing possible that would have been impossible were it not for this era. My name is Adam Kligfeld. I'm a rabbi in Los Angeles, and it's a real delight and honor to be part of this team that in slightly different configurations over the last few months have offered two slightly different configurations of people. This Niggun and Nourishment. Niggun, which just means tune. Nourishment, which means nourishment. Because all of us who are leading this believe that even without the words, just the tune, there can be uplift, there can be reawakening, there can be vitality. I'm going to have each of my colleagues introduce themselves their first time singing and sharing. I do want to mention in absentia my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Barry Dove Katz, who was supposed to be a part of this, who couldn't because of a death in the family, and we miss him. But this will hopefully not be the last time we offer this, and his voice and his beautiful words of Torah will join us next time. We're going to be with you for about an hour and a quarter, a little bit more. A combination of words of Torah, some meditation, and some nigun. And as the leaders joked about before this actually began, it's about 2% as good as being in the same room and hearing the overlapping harmonies. But 2% is better than no percent. And because the theme of this day and this session and this week is gratitude, I'm grateful for that and what we're about to experience. Some of you may have seen a short video that went viral a few weeks ago. I don't know exactly when it was recorded, but it happened to go viral. I saw it everywhere a few weeks ago. Of an older woman who's suffering from dementia, who, when she was young, was a prima ballerina. And you can see sitting in her wheelchair, her body doesn't work the way it once did, and her mind almost doesn't work at all. She doesn't recognize the people who are in front of her. It's not clear she knows where she is or even who she is. And then the person who's with her, couldn't tell from the video if it's an aide or a relative or someone else, puts headphones on her ears. And you hear her, and we hear the music playing, the music to one of the most iconic parts of the ballet, Swan Lake. What you see is a transformation. It's such a poignant transformation because you know what can't be in this person, but almost like a metamorphosis. This woman who is trapped in a body and in the fog of a mind that remembers almost nothing. Her body leads her to memories that are there and will always be there. And you see her begin in her wheelchair
to dance the ballet. Her fingers know what to do at every note. Her shoulders lift. She becomes a swan in her own way. And you can see that deep within the recesses of her mind are memories that are held by her body, that are awakened by the music, and allow her for a few short minutes to be back where she once was and who she once was. I don't know about you, but I've been finding over the last few months that I can't remember aspects of life before COVID. I can't remember what it felt like to wake up in the morning, not to this set of headlines. Can't remember what it felt like to breathe without this anvil on our collective chests. The moments that I do remember are when I close my eyes and I listen to others singing or even sing myself. And it boomerangs me back to a time when serenity was more easily accessed, when tranquility seemed to be at my fingertips. And I can get there. And it's temporary. It doesn't last, but it's there. My body remembers. Part of what we want to offer you today is that we know that your bodies and your souls and your minds remember how to sing, remember how to be quiet and okay, remember how to feel stable, and that the music can reawaken those memories. And I connected to a beautiful piece of teaching that I was introduced to by one of my colleagues who's going to be presenting this afternoon, Rabbi Yosef Goldman. It's a teaching by the Sfat Emet, who was one of the Rebbes of the Ger Hasidic dynasty outside of Warsaw, on the verse from a few weeks ago's Parsha, where the Torah says that Abraham was Zakein, he was old, Ba Bayamim, two Hebrew words which we know how to translate them, but the phrase is hard to make sense of. Ba, he's coming, Bayamim, in his days, upon his days, with his days. What does it mean to describe someone as Ba Bayamim, coming along in their days, when you've already described them as Zakein, as old? And what the Sfat Emet says is that Avraham laid out as a paradigm for us, an example par excellence of what it means to go through your days with every inspiration to which you were once exposed, logged, banked inside your system, inside your soul, always accessible if you can find the right pathway back, if you can find that Hansel and Gretel reminder of how to get home. They are there. Abraham remembered every inspiration that he brought with him along his days. That was the kind of ziknut, of agedness, that he was experiencing. I'd like to imagine that we all have a version of that we have wisdoms and inspirations and thoughts and abilities that are deep within us, that are not always right available to us consciously, but unconsciously, when the right tune and the right setting is presented, we are like that woman in the old age home, brought back to life a bit. And that can be sustaining. Even every once in a while, it can be sustaining. And so we must find our way back there. And so we'll go back into this Niggun, and I want you to sing along with me, even if you don't know it. The way to learn a Niggun is just to sing. And with your voice and my voice, there's at least a two-part harmony. And you can imagine the layers of harmony that we would be hearing if we were all together. And God willing, Bezrat Hashem, inshallah, one day we just may well be. Welcome, and let this Niggun bring you some nourishment. Ay, 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 da, da, ay, 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 ay,
ay ay da na na ay da ay da ay ay da da na again ay da ay da da ay da ay da da na ay da yay da da yay 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 ay yay 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 da na na yay 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 da da na ay da da yay ay 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 da da night ay ay da da ay da da ya da da Pass it along to my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Josh Warshawsky.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be with all of you. Thanks for joining us for this little time of pausing, of expressing gratitude. I'm thankful that all of you are here. I'm grateful to be a part of this really special team of people that we get to share this music and this time with. This melody is it's a Niggun by a band called Navatila, and it's called Kosi Revaya, the Kislev Niggun. Kosi Revaya means my cup is overflowing, from Psalm 23. And in this time when the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting darker and colder, even more so, it's a time to reflect on our blessings, on the things that bring us light in the world, the things that we want to express gratitude for, especially this week when we're feeling that extra time of gratitude. And right now I'm picturing that Kosi Revaya, that overflowing cup, as a cornucopia. Right, this thing on our table that's filled up with food and it's overflowing. And as we continue to sing this Niggun, think about, it starts off a little slow and grounded, and it fills itself up. It lifts itself off, and then it returns back to the beginning, because once it overflows, it refills itself up again. And so we're going to sing this Niggun just a few more times, and as we're doing it, allow yourself to think about what it might be like to fill yourself up with gratitude this week. What are those things that are filling you up? Who is filling you up with gratitude? We'll try and sing it out one more time through. Come in whenever you feel ready. Kosi Revaya, my cup is overflowing. Yeri dai 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 dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 dai. Yeri dai 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 dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 dai. Yeri dai dai dai. Dai 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 dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai. Yeri dai 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 yeri dai dai dai.
Hello, everyone. Wow, look at all of these amazing faces here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Josh, for starting us off with our repeating Niggun, which we will hopefully know very well by the end of our gathering today. There's a teaching I want to share with you by a great Hasidic teacher, the Piazetzner Rebbe, The first Niggun we started with is often attributed to this Rebbe. And he teaches that saying words of gratitude is like recounting a great light, like the sun, that's far away. But singing words of gratitude is like drawing a candle close to you in the darkness. And when you sing like this, you become like B'nai Nevi'im, like the children of prophets, able to see the potential of the future. Through our song, the future is sometimes revealed. And you need both of these things. You need hoda'ah, you need gratitude to give us strength. And you need nivu'ah, you need prophecy to give us hope that the future can change and that things can get better. So we'll hold both of those as we sing the first prayer of our morning, Moda'ani, to a new tune. The words I'm sharing in the chat, which is about giving gratitude for our soul being returned to us, giving gratitude for the dependency of waking up in the morning, and giving gratitude for our voice and our song. This is a new tune, so join in when you catch on. Moda'ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'kayam. Moda'ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'kayam. Try that. Moda'ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'kayam. Moda'ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'kayam. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. Join me. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. moda'ani לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. moda'ani לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. moda'ani לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. moda'ani לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת בי נשמתי וחמלה רבה אמונתך. שהחזרת Rabba emunatecha. Now on to Reb Yosef.
Thank you, Rabbi Ariel. I'm Rabbi Yosef Goldman, here with Rabbi Annie Lewis.
Hi, everybody.
We'll hear from Rabbi Annie later. For now, I want to build on Ariel, what you were sharing, a beautiful teaching from the Piazetzna of Kalanimus Kalman Shapiro. I'm going to move to Rav Kook, and we're going to talk for a minute about Modani. And then I'll invite you to bring the Torah into your awareness, into your bodily experience. So Rav Kook, in his commentary on the Sidur, Olat Riyah, talks about the spiritual awakening that we have the potential for each day. And that we can do that by situating ourselves in relationship to God, the one who is constantly renewing creation and goodness, through Modani, through this prayer of gratitude, of recognizing God's role in creation each day. And the way he explains it is that we first bring our awareness back to the expressions of the life force that are always flowing from the one who is constantly renewing creation in goodness. Bringing awareness to, in Rav Kook's words, the tzahalat ha'chaim, the exuberance of life that the new day brings. He describes what for many of us can be a default state. We wake up, see the world buzzing around us, and we don't feel that inside. What we feel inside doesn't match what we see. And that can lead to a state of feeling dislocated. That who am I in relation to all this? And the antidote, the way to move from one state to feeling connected to that exuberance is through the Hoda'ah. So I want to acknowledge that we're in a moment now where our earth is in deep pain, where the inhabitants are in deep pain. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. We're in this country alone, over 250,000 people have died from this pandemic. And in the midst of grief and sadness and deep disappointment, it is still possible to find gratitude. It is still possible to lift up the life-affirming blessings around us. If anything, it's that much more of an important avodah, of an important spiritual practice. So I want to invite you, if you're comfortable, close your eyes, and to think back to your day so far. To think of the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you, what was one example of the exuberance of life, of seeing life in creation around you this day? Maybe it was in the natural world. Maybe it was in a person you encountered. Maybe it was a work of art. Hold this example in your mind's eye. And say to yourself, Modeh ani, I acknowledge that in this is the light of the Creator The source of life is present in that. And say it out loud. Feel the words Modeh Ani vibrating in your body.
Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani.
Modeh Ani. And as you continue to hold this image, notice if there might be shifts in your body. Where do you feel it? You might even bring your attention to the blood, Yadam hu nefesh, the blood that is coursing through you, the life force that is in you. And as Rav Kook explains, through this expression of gratitude, we are able to open ourselves. This stance of Hoda'ah brings in a spaciousness, and we are filled with light and joy as we recognize that we are a part of the source of life. Achelek Eloha mima'al. Our inner light is activated. Just take a moment to feel a gratitude for being alive. In the words of one of my favorite songwriters, Dar Williams, she writes, "Well, the sun rose with so many colors, it nearly broke my heart. It worked me over like a work of art, and I was a part of all that." Modeh ani lefanecha. I'll pass it back to Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Odu. Ladonai. Kito. Kilei Olam. Chasto. Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai, Kitov, Kilei Olam, Chasto, Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai, Kito, Kilei Olam, Chasto, Hodu, Hodu, Ladonai, Kito, Kilei Olam, Chasto. It's a tune, sounds so much nicer with harmony, so much so that I tried to harmonize on myself there. Composed by Nathaniel Goldberg, who is an Israeli, to call him a songwriter kind of reduces him. He's a spiritual master, Niggun composer, spiritual concert giver, wonderful contributor to this moment in Jewish musical life. And it's a simple tune, but sometimes the simplest are the most beautiful because they can get into your kishkas in a different way. It's a phrase which also rudimentary Hebrew allows you to translate it easily, but that's different than what does it mean. Hodu, in the command form, give thanks for, exclamation point, or acknowledge, exclamation point. In Hebrew, hoda'ah means both gratitude and acknowledgement. Ladonai, to God, for God, ki, for, because, tov. That might seem like the easiest Hebrew word to translate, right? What 5-year-old in religious school or day school doesn't know that tov means good? But whatever tov means or meant in the Bible, it doesn't mean good. There's no way that the English word good can capture the contours of what Tov meant. When God saw God's creation and said Tov, it had to be different than just good. Sometimes I like to think of translating Tov in the following way. Tov is used throughout the first chapter of Bereshit, Genesis, to describe God's reaction to creation. But there's nothing about the description of what is being described as Tov that helps us, the reader, understand what is meant by the word Tov. It's not until later on, second chapter, that we get any contextual understanding of what Tov might mean. And it's in the negative. God has said that the light was Tov, that the earth was Tov, that the animals were Tov. But once we get into a relational setting, God says, Lo Tov Heyot Adam Levado. Whatever Tov is, it's not Tov for a person to be Levado alone. The first contextual definition of Tov in the Torah is that it's the antidote to loneliness. It's the opposite of unpleasant solitude. And so if Tov is the antidote to loneliness, then perhaps what we're acknowledging in God when we say Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov is acknowledging the divine power in any of us and being grateful for it, to be that antidote to another person's loneliness. It might be the greatest para-divine act we can do throughout our lives, is to make someone feel less lonely. Can you imagine if that was our frame for each day? If after Modeh Ani and Moda Ani, we said to ourselves, I want to live a godly day, identify one person whose loneliness I can assuage a little bit. And that would be Tov. That would be the most Tov. Even more so during this time. With that in mind, I want to ask you to close your eyes again. As I share with members of my community and those who do my weekly meditations that I offer online, if you're a meditator, we're about to meditate. If you're not a meditator, forget about the word. Just listen to my voice. As your eyes are closed and your feet are gently placed flat on the surface beneath you, carpet or a wood, and your arms are on your legs, either palms up, which is a stance of openness and embrace, or palms down, which is an embrace of self, a point of contact with self. I want you to allow the simultaneous descent of a heaviness come over you, a lovely, luxurious heaviness, where you are so grateful for the gravitational pull that connects your feet to the ground beneath you and your body to the chair or couch that's holding you. And at the same time, allow your body to feel this ethereal, diaphanous, light and airy, almost floating experience. It's amazing what our minds can impose upon our bodies, heavy and light at the same time. And for the moment, because we're never in a purely pristine, audio blocked place, whatever you're hearing in the background, a car going by, a bird chirping, the whir of a motor, the sound of someone's footsteps, the creak of a house, they're all there, but they can be banished temporarily to the periphery of your consciousness. They're on the edge. They are temporarily immaterial. what is ikar, what is central, is you. Your body re-inhabited in some way by your breathing, by your soul, by your neshama and your neshima. And this moment of serenity we are building together. You don't have to do anything different to your breathing except to notice it and to revel in it and to shift it from an autonomous function to the most delightful of elixirs. If you want to alter it a bit, you can intend to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth and try to make the out breath just a little bit longer than the in breath, which is a sign of generosity to the world, giving out a little more than you are taking in. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov. We acknowledge God. We are grateful to God. We embody God. We emulate God for the part of God that takes away another's loneliness. Who or what is a God figure in your life today that soaked up and absorbed an ounce of your loneliness? And have you yet expressed gratitude for it, for him, for her, for them, for it? And to whom ought you be tov today and this week, in this sense of the word? Who needs your company and your presence, even if mediated through technology? Which mitzvah of assuaging someone's loneliness is waiting right there for you, beckoning you to come in the image of God and be tov and bring tov to another? During this moment, in this day, in this week of experiencing gratitude, reflecting it, we can also recommit to holding ourselves in such a way that will make others grateful, make others have hoda'ah for the divine spark we represent in their lives by shooing away the darkness of being alone. And earning the most biblical of tovs, being there for someone, even and especially when they are not expecting it. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov ki le'olam chasto. Hodu, Hodu,
l'Adonai ki tov. Ki le'olam chasto hodu hodu l'Adonai ki tov. Ki le'olam chasto hodu hodu l'Adonai ki tov. Ki le'olam chasto.
Yanai nai 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 hai nai yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 hai nai ai yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 hai nai ai yanai nai 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 Yanai lai 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 ai lai ai yanai lai 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 yanai lai 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 ai yanai lai 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 yanai lai 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 yanai lai 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 yanai
Hi, everyone. I'm Hillary Chorny. I'm a cantor and a rabbi in Los Angeles, California. And I want to share with you some Thanksgiving table Torah. Y'all need a little Torah to share, even around our virtual Thanksgiving tables. So here's a little bit of history about the pilgrims and praying. Back in 2010, historian Nick Bunker published a historical overview of the pilgrims and their adventures in America. Thanksgiving actually doesn't feature all that prominently in his book because it's mostly a social history of the pilgrims and their Christianity. In fact, Bunker says that the 1621 feast that we know as the real Thanksgiving wasn't the real Thanksgiving at all. That took place when the pilgrims landed in 1620 at Plymouth Rock, right there in Provincetown. When the pilgrims finally got to dry land, they fell to their knees and thanked God, just as they had learned to do from the teachings of the Rambam, of Maimonides. Now, this probably sounds pretty peculiar to you, but it made perfect sense in the context of the passionate and learned religious passengers aboard the Mayflower. There was William Bradford, who was a Calvinist and a Hebraicist, and a lot of Williams in those days. There was also William Brewster, who would become the senior elder of the colony. And when they got there, upon arrival in America, Brewster had with him a psalter, which is a collection of psalms, of Tehillim, scribed by the separatist preacher in Amsterdam named Henry Ainsworth, who had also been Bradford's teacher. Now, Bradford, as a separatist, he didn't really care very much for formalized prayer. Since 1618, the English had been printing psalters and prayer books for the crews of ships to take, just in case of a burial at sea. They contained prayers like "Thankies giving," like with an E in it somewhere, to God after deliverance from a tempest. And the pilgrims, they had little interest in these contemporary prayers, but they had all grown up with that sort of liturgy. And they were comfortable with the stuff that seemed to have come straight out of the Holy Bible. So when it came time to offer prayers of gratitude, Bradford turned to the Psalms, and he quoted specifically from Psalm 107. And when he looked at Ainsworth's notes on that psalm, he would see the teachings of the Rambam on the Mishnah and the outline and the form of the prayer, Birkat HaGomel, the prayer of thanksgiving that Jews offer on 4 occasions: the healing of sickness, release of a prisoner, the end of a voyage, and travelers upon reaching their destination. That was the profession of God's goodness and majesty that the pilgrims prayed back at Provincetown. This Maimonidean interpretation of Psalm 107, verses 21 and 22. Yodu ladonai chasto. Let them give thanks to God for his mercy. V'nifliotav lifnei adam. And for God's wonderful works to the children of humanity. V'yizbechu zivchei todah. Let them offer the sacrifices of thanksgiving. V'sapru ma'asa berina. And declare his works with singing. And indeed, isn't that what the pilgrims did upon their arrival? They were at the end of their voyage. They had reached their destination. So the pilgrims fell to their knees and they sang praises. We too can follow the instruction of Psalm 107, Yodu ladonai chasto. We can give thanks to God in particular that God has given us out of loving kindness, chesed, for being spared, for second chances, for safely guiding us through another long year's journey. We have a great deal to be thankful for. So we don't do Thanksgiving just once a year. We give thanks all year round. I'll turn this back to my colleague, Rabbi Josh Warshawsky.
Thanks so much, Cantor Chorny. It's so great to get to hear your Torah and get to be in this space with everyone here. I want to jump back into that idea of that gratitude of expressing it out all over, and thinking about the tov and the lo tov, heyot adam levado, the idea of being together, which is harder this year than most years. And I wanted to think about the words hod vehadar, which are words that I wanted to sing with all of you right now. The word hod, when it comes with the word hadar in Kabbalat Shabbat, in the Psalm 96, talks about beauty and splendor and majesty. But when we're counting the Omer and thinking Kabbalistically about the ways in which we want to improve ourselves, hod means humility. And I think there's something powerful in the fact that hod is translated there as humility, but in the Siddur when we pray, it's about beauty. What's the connection between beauty and humility? They seem kind of like they could be contradictory concepts. But the idea is that if we're able to, humility is being able to, it really comes from the word hoda'ah, from acknowledgement, from being able to acknowledge the goodness that comes from others, or the goodness that we can do for other people, the goodness that other people can do for us. And if you think about that cup that we were talking about before, that kosi revaya, that overflowing cup, if that cup is just filled up with yourself, with ego, with your own spirit, with just you, then there's no room for anyone else. But if we can pour out some of that overflowing cup and allow there to be space for others, space to acknowledge the things that other people do in our lives, space to express gratitude, that's where the true beauty in Thanksgiving comes in. So we're going to try and sing out these words, hod vehadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, strength and majesty in this holy place. And the idea is that any space can be a holy place, can be a holy space, if we're able to find a way to open ourselves up, to pour out a little of ourselves, to make room for allowing something else to come in. Put the words here in the chat for us to sing. Just those words, hod vehadar, over and over again. Allowing ourselves to feel that beauty, that humility, opening up space for others, and for gratitude. Hod vehadar, hod vehadar. Hod vehadar lefanav. Hod vehadar, hod vehadar lefanav. Hod vehadar, hod vehadar. Hadar lefanav. Oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, v'tiferet b'mikdasho, v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Hod vehadar. Hod vehadar, hod vehadar lefanav. Hod vehadar, hod vehadar, hod vehadar, hod vehadar hod vehadar, hod vehadar, hod vehadar, lefanav. Bring the strength, sing oz, oz. Vetiferet b'mikdasho, 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 vetiferet b'mikdasho. Toss it back over to Rabbi Annie Lewis.
Thank you, Rabbi Josh Warshawsky. Gorgeous. This week in Parshat Vayetze, in our Torah, we encounter one of the greatest love scenes in the Torah. We are following Yaakov, following Jacob on his journey, and he comes across a well in the wilderness, and there are shepherds and flocks, and a whole crowd of people is gathered around this well, and there's a huge stone on top of the well, and the sheep and the shepherds can't access the water, and Jacob is schmoozing with everyone and trying to understand what's happening, and all of a sudden enter Rachel. He sees her coming towards him, and he gets this burst of energy. He falls madly in love with her at first sight. And with this energy, he runs forward and takes the stone off of the well. He rolls the stone single-handedly off of the well, and all of the sheep and all of the people are able to draw water from the well. So I'm thinking about this love scene in our Torah. I'm thinking about our theme today of gratitude. And this year, I am feeling particularly grateful for love and for the transformative power of love. Even as we are apart this year from so many people we love, the love is there. And there's also some grief in not being together, and that grief perhaps is a mirror image of the depth of the love that we feel for one another. In the words of Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, Ki azah kamavet ahava, as fierce as death is love. Love is powerful, and we know that love is not simple. It's not easy. It's messy and complicated. It takes work and it takes time. And it's a profound gift of a God who loved us into being and is with us in love, even in the darkness and the shadows and the valleys, helping us roll away the stones that keep us from blessing, from abundance, helping us to find ways to open the wells of love. So wherever we may be for this Thanksgiving and for Hanukkah, I pray that we will find a way to be rooted in love, love of parents and siblings, partners and children, love of friends, love of our ancestors who paved the way for us to come into this life, love of those we have lost, love of all who are yet to come, love of neighbors and love of strangers, love of humanity and love of God, love of Torah and love of this earth that holds us, love of justice and love of righteousness, love of goodness and love of kindness, love of freedom, love of truth, and love of peace. This Thanksgiving, this Shabbos, this Chanukah, may we be rooted in a fierce love of life. And at this tender moment, we pray to the source of love and life and liberation. Help us to lift up our power of love, to uproot hatred and cruelty, exploitation and violence from this land. Help us to lift up the power of our love, to turn curses into blessings, to turn mourning into dancing, to turn hearts toward one another, to heal aching souls all across this nation, to open well springs of justice, of life, of liberation, and hope for all who are thirsty.
Amen, amen.
So may it be your will, God. Ken Yehi Ratzon. And so we're going to sing a song now about leading in love. And this comes from a duo called Mamuz, a beautiful singer-songwriter team that write a lot of spiritual and nourishing music. So.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change of life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
The psalmists ask a lot of questions, and one of the questions they ask is how to repay good deeds. How do you not just say thank you, but also repay somebody's kindness? And I love the answer that's given in the second half of Psalm 116, which we say in Hallel, we celebrate in Hallel. By the way, if you've ever been to Shereth, Israel, snuck in there for the Thanksgiving Day parade, you'll know they say Hallel that day in New York, part of our history, connecting that history to song. And how do you repay? How to repay somebody's abundant kindnesses to you? The psalmist says, "Nidarai l'Adonai ashalem negdana l'chol amo." I'm going to do it publicly. I'm going to thank God publicly. I'm going to offer publicly my gratitude. Now, it'd be great if we all had relationships with the divine where we felt like we could thank God publicly all the time. But even if you're not feeling pushed to get into your God relationship right now, I think we can imagine emulating that with the people who do great kindnesses for us in this world. We can thank them publicly. We can go out there and perpetuate that love and gratitude. We can pay it forward. Ma ashiv ladonai, kol tagmudohi alai. How will I repay all the kindnesses? I say thank you out loud. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. You can hum along. Yai dai 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 dai. Or use the words. Ma ashiv Adonai. Kol tagmulohi alai, kos Yeshuotesa, uv'shem Adonai ekra. Nidarai l'Adonai hashalem, nigdana l'chol amo. Yakar v'nei Adonai hamavta l'chasita ana Adonai ki ani avdecha ani avdecha vein amatecha ani avdecha vein amatecha Pitach lemoserai lecha ispach sefach toda uv'shem Adonai ekra nidorai l'Adonai hashalem nigdana l'chol hamo b'chatzrot v'hit Adonai b'tochechi Yerushalayim b'tochechi Yerushalayim Hallelujah. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
This has been such a beautiful afternoon together, and so incredible that so many people have come to sing with us. And I'm filled with gratitude, and would love to give us a chance to share some of our own gratitude with each other and create our own overflowing cup. So if you would, in the chat, just write one thing you're grateful for today or this week, or something that happened in the last hour even. And we can just see some of the beautiful things that are happening in all of our lives. And we will end our time together singing Kislev Niggun, the Niggun we've been repeating throughout the program. And as we sing this Niggun together, which hopefully you've gotten into your body a little bit, feel free to look and absorb some of these words of gratitude into your song. Let it nourish your song. Let it breathe new breath into your voice as we sing our collective gratitude together. That was wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. I'm going to put in the chat a link to a PDF that has the songs we shared today and our names, and a link to give some feedback about this program. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Ariel, what a beautiful way to end.
Thank you all so much for being with us. Blessings for a safe and meaningful holiday.
Yasher koach to all of our incredible leaders. You guys are amazing. Be well, everybody. Be well. Be well.
Thank you, Alana.